Can also be one of those cases where producers have had so many issues with the 1L cement that they're looking just for any not alternatives, but just ways to help the process. If they're having hardened concrete problems or if they're having performance problems, that was the reason that we got this new customer. They were having 1L cement uh, performance problems with pumping and finishing and everything else, and that's why they wanted Acti-Gel. Acti-Gel helped them out. Could some of these other SCMs alleviate some of these 1L problems that people are seeing?
I mean, that's a good question. It'd have to be a pretty supercharged SCM. I mean, I've heard from folks in the ready mix side that are testing some of these calcine clays, not ours. Not we don't sell that yet. I don't know that we're going to, but we're certainly talking about it. But there are some that have been developed and are not on the market yet, and they are unbelievable. Apparently, they were able to replace up to like 50% of their Portland cement. Is allegedly. I have not seen the results. This is just what folks are telling me. And it almost sounds too good to be true, but let me tell you, if you're having problems with 1L and you can get half of it out of there, you'd imagine you'd try to do that, right? Lee, are you seeing anything on the ground? Are you hearing any rumblings of stuff like that?
Yeah, a little bit, not much yet. I think that's certainly um, an aspect to being a valuable asset to a ready mix producer that I would love to see us tap into. We've got some of the most interesting and high performance binder options out there in our products and in our cement. So finding some innovative ways of getting that into some projects that may or may not be looking for that true shrinkage compensating concrete performance, but just looking to have a benefit for their everyday concrete. And
You're
that
working
brings
on
in the other things that, we've all talked about as far as scalability and all that kind of things. But I think we've got some potential there, certainly in my market, to kind of start exploring and looking at some of those things. I think it's a lot of that's going to be driven by the age old problem is silo space.
mm,
But I think if you're in a market where, let's say, you're going to go to a 1P, your producer's going to be bringing you a 1P. You got two silos, and you've always had a Class F fly ash in that other silo. Well, now if you've got a 1P and it's not only 1L, but it's 1L with a X percentage of fly ash in it already, in that market what happens if you take something that has 60% clinker and 40% ash in it. You know what it is. So does it really make the most sense for you to have a fly ash, Class F ash in that silo next to that 1P? Probably not. So you're going to start balancing between what goes in there. Can you get access to a slag, or maybe a more reactive ash, or what's your admix capability going to let you do with anything that's something that you wouldn't normally consider, like a ground calcium carbonate or any other type of pneumatically driven powder that you can put in there? Do you just simply say, well, I know what I can do with this, and this is fantastic, so I'm just going to ignore it's a two silo plant. It's just going to be one product in both silos, and we're going to rock and roll. I think that's kind of where a lot of folks will just go, but I think it's the innovation side that's more exciting and probably going to give people that advantage and that leg up. But I think a lot of people are just going to sort of bite the bullet and say, well, okay, well, they're giving me something that's 70% clinker, 70%, 60% clinker. That's like a 30 or 40% replacement mix I used to run. So that's just what I have in my silos. And here's you're going to get what you're going to get. And they'll try to overcome it with an admix package. And there's probably nothing wrong with that approach in plenty of markets and plenty of plants. But then that's just going to stress that supply of all that. Now you've got a single source of powder, not two. So what happens if a terminal goes down? The mill goes down. We see that what those ripple effects do now, putting people in allocations and things when just one plant has a hiccup. So everybody's not going to be able to take that approach. And that's where it's going to get dynamic. That's where it's going to get real interesting.